What in the budget knife hell do we have here? We got 5 budget knives. And my thinking today is we're going to figure out which one, I mean, not just of these, but I've narrowed a bunch of knives down to these as being participants in this little contest for the best beginner budget knife. Not the best budget knife, but the best one for someone just starting out, trying to move up from gas station knives to a budget knife that kind of does it all on a decent at a decent price. So sit back, grab yourself a cold one, because it's going to be kind of a long-winded, drawn out, and boring. No, it won't be boring. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be a great video. Let's start out with this Kansept right here. The Prototype. I've reviewed this one before, I think. It's a great knife. It's got a great titanium clip. It's got some kind of high-end features. The blade with a nice fuller for a reverse flick. So that's part of the criteria for being considered for this prestigious honor of being the best budget knife to start out with for somebody, according to my ass, is that it's got to have multiple deployments, including a flipper. Why not start with a flipper and some other way? This guy's got flipper, thumb studs, and a fuller. So you can reverse flick with the fuller. You can thumb open, whoops, or slip off. You know what? That is one of the downsides of this guy, is it's got, the studs are a little slippery. Okay, that's weird. That, you know, that's kind of was my thinking originally, that the thumb studs are a little slippery and I slipped on it. The reverse flick, the fuller flick was a little slippery too. The fuller is actually came a little slick, kind of polished. So I actually took a little piece of sandpaper and ran it up and down in the fuller until it was a little bit more rough, and my fingernail could catch in there, or fingernail, whatever. My finger would catch in there better and be able to flick it open better. So that's one of the downsides of this guy. It's a little slippery on the studs and the fuller. I think the flipper tab was a little slippery too. I actually sanded it to give it a little texture, and now it's great. So, yeah, I don't know, dude. It's a great knife, great materials, 154 cm steel, micarta. I think they have it in G10. Some cool options, but those couple of little downsides. Yeah, I don't know. Gonna kind of think as we go along. You can see the sizes here of these guys. They're all topped off here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This guy's close to 5 inches. It's kind of an optical illusion. He's not quite there. So 4.8 maybe. All right, next on the list, or on the table, is the Ruike. What is this guy? The P155B. All right. So, this is a great knife. I like it a lot. It also has a little bit of a slippery flipper. I haven't messed with it, so you can kind of see what I'm considering a slippery flipper. A flippery slipper is no texture on it really, and fairly polished and nicely rounded. So, I mean, it opens easy because it's got a nice, perfectly tuned detent, in my opinion. These Ruikes they have some of the best action in the budget range, in my opinion. This particular guy Has really good action. Not quite drop shutty, but man, really close. You might as well call it drop shutty. And of course it has multiple deployments. And the thumb studs on this guy are sticky. Your thumb doesn't slip off of them. They stick. They stick and it opens. That was my robotic vacuum telling me something that I don't care about at all. What's the downside of this guy? One of the downsides is it's kind of got a kooky blade shape. It's that upward swept, what do you call it? Kind of a Persian shape. Not everybody likes that. I like it. I think the design is very interesting, the way they have just one bolt at the pivot and one bolt at the other end and going right through the clip, which works well, even though it's a little stiff. So it's, you know, in the running for sure. Great knife. And surprisingly, another Ruike right next to it. This is one of my favorites, man. One of my favorite knives and one of my favorite Ruikes. It is the Ruike P841, 14C28N. Great clip, works great. Kind of shapes with the shape of the handle. It's nice. Kind of fits in nice. Very solid. And one of the other criteria is these are all full-size knives. Now this one maybe is a little smaller than some of the other ones, but not much, really. It's right there. Great blade, great grind. Now, what's the downside to this guy? This isn't how it originally looked. These G10 scales have been ground down and shaped until it actually felt good in my hand. Originally, they come a little bit bulky, a little, what's the right word? Kind of blocky feeling. Very, they come straight up and kind of straight across. A little big, even for larger hands, I think. So it got cut down. That makes it a tough one to say it's, you know, one of the best, or it is the best, because unless you have bigger hands, I think the scales feel blocky. But if you're a real tinkerer type guy and you feel like cutting them down, you'll end up with a really, really great knife. I mean, it's really one of my favorites. All right, next in the pile O budget is